President Biden avoided shaking hands upon landing in Israel on Wednesday, just as aides hinted he would, citing the rapidly spreading new coronavirus subvariant, and first bumped local leaders instead. But only minutes later, he evidently forgot and shook hands with two former prime ministers anyway. Outsized attention was focused on what Mr. Biden would do, because his staff appeared to be laying the ground to make it possible for him to avoid a much more political unhealthy handshake later in his trip with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. Because of COVID, aides suggested he might refrain from all handshakes during the 4-day swing through the region, sparing him a photo that he would prefer to avoid. Mr. Biden initially appeared to be going along with the idea after disembarking from Air Force One at Ben Gurion Airport. When Prime Minister Yair Lapid and other Israeli dignitaries reached their hands out, Mr. Biden surprised them by offering a fist bump instead. But he wore no mask and hardly minimized contact otherwise, cheerfully grabbing elbows and wrapping his arm over Mr. Lapid's shoulder as if they were long-time friends. Then, after the red carpet speeches were over, the no handshake memo seemed to slip Mr. Biden's mind altogether, as he was led to a waiting group of Israeli paramilitary leaders for a group photo. He reached out to shake hands first with former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and then with former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the latter getting an especially long and robust shake despite their past differences. President Biden also shook hands with Israeli officials during his visit to the Holocaust Museum, where he lit the eternal flame, placed a wreath, and then signed the visitor's book. Biden also shook hands with the two Holocaust survivors. So much for the plan, if that was indeed the plan. Just hours earlier, White House officials flying with Mr. Biden to Jerusalem had emphasized the rise of highly contagious Omicron subvariant known as BA.5 in suggesting that he might not shake hands. Mr. Biden and his aides have been dreading the image of the president meeting with the Prince Mohammed, who was deemed responsible for the brutal 2018 killing in Istanbul of Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi descendant and columnist for the Washington Post who was living in the United States.